Menjünk tovább, és nézzük meg azt, hogy hogyan jött létre nem csak az együttműködés a Magyar Diáksport Szövetség és a Cooper Intézet között, de a mai napnak ugye a mottója, a témája az a NetFit, ami a Nemzeti Egységes Tanulói Fitségi Teszt. És arról, hogy ez hogyan jön létre, tartsa a következő előadást Tóth Zoltán, a Magyar Diáksport Szövetség alelnöke.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to be able to hold my presentation after Dr. Kenneth H. Cooper. But first of all, I would like to thank you all for attending our conference. And I'm personally honored that in the last couple of days, I was able to listen to presentations about scientific researches, surveys, the legislation in Europe and also in the United States. And this made me also happy because all of the issues which were mentioned before in the former speeches were also the issues we had to consider when we were planning our program. And this is also the place and the time that I would like to thank you, my colleagues, who made an enormous effort, and also my partners and our partners, especially the Cooper Institute, the researchers and other scientists of the Cooper Institute, because with their help we were able to make a program which from a holistic point of view is trying to give answers for a lot of concerns which were mentioned the days before. So this is why I call my presentation the NetFit project, because the project not only consists of an assessment system, although of course the assessment system itself is an essential part of our program, but it has other program elements, and later on I will try to show you how these program elements work with each other and reinforce each other to bring us closer to our mission. But before I start, for a better understanding, especially the Hungarian specialties, I would like to start with some historic background. The HSSF, the Hungarian Sport Federation, which is a nationwide sport federation, was founded in 1987, and it's actually the main activities promoting health-enhancing physical activity. We are a nationwide organization, a civil organization, and we have members covering the whole territory of Hungary. That means that we have members in 200 small counties within the 20 counties. So we can reach more than 4,000 institutions and 1.2, 1.3 million students. We are also, in the last 25 years, one of the main activities, one of the main service of the Hungarian School Sport Federation was organizing the Student Olympic Games, which actually is the biggest organized sport event in Hungary and is attracting 208,000 students every year. But we are also internationally active because we are member of several international organizations, like of course the ISF, the UPA, the ISCA and the FIEP, and we are also the national focal point for HIPE in Hungary. And we are also very proud of that ISCA has nominated our Hungarian School Sport Day as one of best practices in a move transfer program. The Hungarian School Sports Federation mission is healthy youth through physical activity. I think you are not the ones who need too much explanation about that adequate physical activity and a healthy level of fitness have preventive effect on obesity, cardiovascular risk factors or insulin sensitivity and many other important factors. But in providing opportunities for regular fitness activities, regular physical activities, schools are one of the most important venues because children and adolescents can be reached via local school programs, and this is a serious opportunity from the health point of view. In 2012, maybe a civil organization means, of course, that a lot of our helpers, workers, are volunteers. So that means also that, of course, the presidency of the Hungarian Sports World Federation is nominated and then elected by the members. So when we first received the nomination to be within the presidency of the Hungarian Sports World Federation, the first things we did was trying to decide what to do to bring this civil organization closer to their mission. So healthy youth through physical activity. And after we was elected, before starting everything, the first important thing was to try to figure out what are the issues which need to be solved. I think that because of the time limits, I'm not able to show you all, but you have to believe me, I was preparing my presentation before I was listening to all of your presentations, and of course you will face pretty much the same issues, because there are some institutional issues. Do we have the necessary tools? Do we have enough infrastructure to make quality physical education? What is the relationship of the students, the teachers, but also the school directors to physical activity, the so-called school culture? And are there any measurement systems within the system, nationwide, which can provide data about the progress of any kind of program invented in any kind of institution? There are also some methodological issues. Yesterday we heard a lot of very good presentations about PE teacher education, also roundtable discussion about this, and the content, the core curriculum or the national curriculum, what are the issues which needs to be solved in this manner. And of course, one thing which cannot be missed, the legal, but I have to be honest, in Hungary, and as far as I'm concerned, and I listened to the various presentations, we are very happy in Hungary, and our government in this manner is I believe, leading also Europe's way of thinking, because all the legislation in Hungary is very supportive towards what we would like to achieve. Of course, there is one important issue which was partly discussed before. It's probably one of the most difficult things to change, the so-called social issues, the Z generation. They are actually digitally dependent. It's not easy to bring them to move. And today's economic situation makes the parents also work more and more, so they have probably less time and effort for to look after their children. And the lack of motivation is missing from the system. And last but not least, the long-term strategy, because any kind of actions, what you plan to do or make, it has to be done along a long-term strategy to be able to reach what we would like to reach. So today what I would like to show you in the next couple of slides is how this project was put together, and this is not a scientific point of view, this is more a management point of view. First of all, we were lucky in Hungary, or I could also say that we saw that our initiatives has an ethero support, because in 2012 the Public Act on Education came in force, and that meant that in Hungary daily physical activity, daily physical education is mandatory from the age of 6 to 18. And that's of course a significant change, a quantity change in the system. But also a new national core curriculum came in force, and that regulates the objectives and contents of physical education. And of course the HSSF had an answer for this, and that's actually strategic actions for health enhancing physical education, which in Hungarian as an acronym is TESI, And tesi is a wordplay because that's the way how Hungarian students call the PE education. It's actually a funneling of PE. And this tesi program has three important pillars. The first is that we wanted to develop a physical education strategy for 2020. The second important thing is the methodological support of quality PE. And of course, the third one was a new national school-based fitness assessment system. Let me start with the first, which was the strategy. This strategy is focusing on 4 areas. One is of infrastructure. The second one is human resources. Then professional qualification and the education plan. Yesterday, I heard the great presentation from Tamás, trying to show you one of the surveys, one of the researches which were done to make a good foundation of this strategy. To be honest, the NetFit assessment system is also an essential part of this strategy, because NetFit, as a system-wide health-related evaluation tool, is able to provide us an objective picture about the usefulness, the effectiveness of one dimension of our strategy. And further development possibilities could explore further dimensions like cognitive knowledge or beliefs and attitudes toward physical activity and physical fitness. The second pillar of the strategy was the methodological support. We made a lot of books and DVDs, and these books and DVDs are concentrating on instructional models in tactical approach in games. They are all student-centered, relaxing, stress control. These are all the topics which are new contents in the Hungarian physical education, and they give an actual support to all the teachers, PE teachers in Hungary. And the third pillar, that's of course the NetFit. But before we started our work, there were 2 major questions which needed to be answered. And the first question is, which fitness components are necessary to measure in schools? Well, our answer was that, of course, the health-related fitness components have priority, while skill-related fitness components are secondary. The second most important question is, which are the most suitable tests to measure a given fitness component? There are multiple aspects, but because of the system itself is being used in schools, the educational purpose and the usefulness of the tests were the 2 main aspects, but validity, reliability, comparability with previous year's results, simple but precise execution, necessary tools, motivating power of the test, or other traditional aspects were also considered. We also had 4 very important objectives before choosing and deciding on the testing system. The first one was that we wanted to build a health-related, criterion-based fitness standard which is accepted through the country and has a strong scientific background. The second important thing was that we wanted to build an online IT solution which is able to handle a data of 1.2, 1.3 million children every year, while giving easy access, complying with the data protection laws, to all stakeholders like students, parents, and of course the teachers. The third important objective was that we wanted that an average of 2 teachers from every Hungarian school can attend a complementary hands-on training which helps them to prepare the measurement tasks and their appropriate application. That meant that 7,000 teachers could participate on this training. And the fourth important thing was that we wanted that every Hungarian school is provided with a test kit containing all necessary tools and education materials. Well, after taking into consideration our objectives, looking into the literature, talking to a lot of experts, our decision was to adopt the Cooper Institute FitnessGram assessment system. Of course, before the assessment system cooperation could start, we wanted to check whether the fitness standards of the FitnessGram assessment system can be used in the Hungarian youth. So that's why it was big scientific research only about this particular issue. But I don't want to talk too much about this because later on the experts, the researchers of the Cooper Institute will hold a presentation only about this important topic. So a combination of lab and field-based evaluation were used to test these aims, and after we were ready with that, we could start research and development on the software itself. And NetFit software is dynamic software, is customizable, and both the fitness test and the evaluation methods can be modified. And the tests have easy access to all of the stakeholders, and it has a great assessment. It has a great report which gives positive feedback for the children. It contains the actual year's results, the previous year's results, and of course supportive messages. And the primary motivation is for children to get from the need improvement zone to the healthy fitness zone, but there is also a secondary motivation that from the previous year's results, how can be better this year. And of course the software can be delivered in any European languages. We have also plans, and after discussions with the Cooper Institute, of course they already invented a lot of from these kind of ideas what we have in Hungary. The software can be developed with sport-related tests, with nutrition, or tests for disabled students or students with special needs. So altogether, as a summary, the NetFit as a project was invented in Hungary in 13 steps. The first important step was that before we started our job, that we checked the literature, of course, the scientific literature, also the regulations in the EU and the legislations, all the offerings of the HW and other big organizations, because we wanted to identify what are the general requirements for this kind of quality physical education and assessment system, and regarding the testing system as well, of course. And after we took into consideration all of the aspects, we contacted potential organizations who we can partner with, also in Hungary, but also, of course, internationally. And we decided to cooperate with the Cooper Institute, and we wanted to have an assessment system based on the FitnessGram assessment tool. After that, we had an awful lot to do, because to apply for an EU fund, that's not an easy job, and that were pretty hard months for us. Because that meant that in Britain we had already all the materials and all the plans we want to make in practice. And after we received a positive answer for this application, we could already start the actual work to make the scientific foundation with the help of the Cooper Institute. And of course, after we had these researches, we could analyze the results and we can finalize the testing system in Hungary. But of course, that was only about half of the project, because we had to continue on with creating the test administration handbook and the DVD. And of course, these kind of activities were not always after each other. They were many times parallel with each other. So this is the reason why we were probably able to make such a huge job in the last 18 months. So after we finalized the DVD, we could start to actually finalize also the software development, which was already in progress at this time. We knew we had a lot of conversations with the Hungarian regulatory institutions because, of course, we had to synchronize our software, this software, with the Hungarian national used softwares in the schools. And the huge job was also to organize this hands-on training for the 7,000 teachers with all the venues. We also have developed a software only to be able to handle the logistical problem of such a big training. First of all, we had to train the trainers who then trained all the PE teachers. And as Tamás also mentioned before yesterday, we are pretty happy because there are already more than 5,000 PE teachers who attended this course, and the feedbacks are very positive. And beside that, we had to configure the test kit. And of course, as being a civil organization and using the EU funds, we had to make a huge public procurement for this test kit configuration. And after that, of course, it was not easy to transfer these test kits for the almost 4,000 schools, institutions in Hungary. As I said at the issues, it's very important that the assessment system is used nationwide, because then we have the data which we need to make certain statistics. So we tried to help the government and the legislatory services institutions to plan the regulations which put NetFit as an assessment system mandatory to use in all of the Hungarian schools. Through the whole project, we were focusing on public relations, of course, because we not only had to discuss certain issues with the international organizations or the Hungarians, we wanted really to involve all stakeholders in our project. And of course, we wanted to get more and more information, to bring more and more information for the parents and the students as well, and of course the PE teachers. So everyone was involved while preparing and executing this project. And the 13th step, that's the step where we are at now, because of course our job is not ready yet. We have to maintain these initiatives and also maintain the software, give the necessary support, the help desk, the maintenance services, and this will be a continuous job from the HSSF. So that's for NetFit, and that's for a lot of the concerns which were discussed. But what about the social issues? I mean, these are initiatives which are important, but probably not enough to really make children motivated to make the necessary exercises every day. So Z generation, digitally dependent, I think that one of the most important things is to reach them through the modern means and tools. Yesterday I also heard some presentation about that. PE teachers, do they use or not modern devices? But I think that this will help them, because we are building a portal system. And this portal system is a sport-related portal system with news feed and with easy access to all stakeholders. That means that within this portal system, as you can see, everything which is in connection with the Hungarian School Sports Federation can be reached. That means that all the Student Olympics, the NetFit and the NetFit recommendations, any other news relating sport issues within physical education can be reached through this portal system. It will be a one-gate access for everyone. That means that if, for instance, the parent students log in to the system, they can also see the NetFit recommendations, but also the offerings from us about the Student Olympic upcoming events to motivate them to participate, but also results about the previous events, photos, videos. So we try to create a community within this portal system. If you are talking about teachers, within this one-gate login, they can reach the Student Olympics registration, so they can register their students for any kind of Olympic events. But of course, they can also use the NetFit through this system. And the government will be able to draw statistics, any kind of statistic from the system. And one more important thing, what we try to do according to the social issue, what I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, and that's called the TEIS project. It's actually, again, a wordplay, because TEIS means you too, but it's playing with the same words as I mentioned before, the TESI, which is the funding of PE. And this program is focusing on a complex way on physical activity, the harmony of physical and psychical development, strengthening volunteering in schools, strengthening the chances of disadvantaged children, and is trying to do collective exercises resulting communities. And we are very happy until so far. We just started this program. That's the first step of the program. But we already have 144 schools participating with 288 Mendo teachers and almost 1,500 TEIS students, and they are organizing 30,000 leisure activities during a year. And I think that's a huge number we can be proud of. And that's, as I said, only the first step of this program. And today in the afternoon, we will listen to a great presentation about only this program. I think that will be interesting for everyone. So I think that I can tell you, and I hope that in the last couple of days you got some kind of evidence about that our strategic cooperation with the Cooper Institute can bring you a lot of services. This program was funded through the EU. That means that our preliminary goal was, of course, to help students in Hungary. But we are not envy at all. And I am pretty open with you. We would like to really help everyone who needs our support, either from the scientific point of view, but of course from the management point of view, to be able to invent or implement such a big system in any EU country. Thank you for your attention.